After my dad died, I found a box of VHS tapes. His Immortality experiments. What I saw on them shattered everything I knew about him and me. I was devastated when Dad died. I know it's cliché, but he was the best parent that I could have asked for. Though his health had been declining for a while and we knew that he didn't have long, it didn't make it any easier. I loved my father. I think that's part of what made the VHS tapes so shocking. I was visiting Mom, taking a bit of time off from work to grieve, when she revealed them to me. "Jeremy, I need to talk to you," she said, slowly taking a seat at the table. I rushed to help her into her chair, but she waved me off. Despite how bad her arthritis was, she was adamant that she was still just as lithe and nimble as a 19-year-old girl. "Is something wrong?" "It sounds serious," I said once she'd had a chance to adjust herself. Mom's expression seemed bleaker than usual. Grim even. She hadn't been the same after Dad's passing, but this was something else. Something darker. "Well, not exactly. Your father asked me to do this. He made me promise that if I outlived him, I was to give you these tapes. If it was up to me, I would have thrown them out ages ago. No one needs to know what's on them. But this was his dying wish, and I have to respect that." Mom nodded to a box lying on the kitchen table. I glanced at it, then turned back to her, unsure of what to make of her revelation. Okay. It's nothing illegal, is it?" "Mom, this is kind of freaking me out." She stared at the table before her, her eyes a contemplating mix of emotions. "I can't say for certain." A gnawing sense of unease began to twist my stomach into knots. "All right. If they're that bad, I'm sure you won't want to watch them with me. Can I borrow your VHS player for a few days? I'll bring it back when I'm done." "Yes, but Jeremy, please know before you watch those tapes that your father was a different man back then. I don't want those videos to change your perception of him." I took a deep breath, considering her words. "I can't promise anything without seeing them, but I hope they don't." I didn't watch the VHS tapes for months. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. If they were really that shocking, I didn't know if I ever wanted to see them. Mom didn't bring it up again, but she seemed different after that day. Every time she looked at me, I could see shame hiding beneath her gaze. I felt sorry for her. This wasn't her fault. Now I don't know how to feel. After half a year, I had completely forgotten about them. The tapes sat on my bookshelf gathering dust, blending in with the fixtures in the room. It was my girlfriend who reminded me that they were even there. "Jay, why do you have a box of VHS tapes? Have you been watching naughty videos behind my back?" she huffed, crossing her arms. "What? No, I haven't even seen those yet. I got them from my dad when he passed." Emma's look of suspicion melted away as her cheeks flushed with color. "I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have brought it up if I'd known. Do you want to watch them together? I know this has been really tough for you, and I want to support you any way that I can." I mulled it over for a moment before making my decision. "Thanks for the offer. I really appreciate you being here for me, but I think this is something that I need to do alone." Emma pursed her lips and nodded before pulling me into a warm embrace. I watched the tapes that night. I decided that I'd been putting it off for long enough. Best to get it over with, right? It took longer than I'd like to admit to get the VHS player set up. It wasn't difficult, but technology and I do not see eye to eye. I took a deep breath as I popped in the first tape, sank into my sofa and pressed play on the remote. The video began with a pitch-black screen. A faint rustling followed before Dad came into frame, his face too close to the camera. He placed his camcorder down before backing away. "This is trial number 1. Jeremy, if you're watching, then I'm probably not around anymore. I don't think anyone is going to believe this. Hell, I don't even believe it myself. But I think I've caught my big break. If I'm right, then I may have found the cure for death." "That's right," he grinned. "I think I've discovered the compound for immortality." Even through the poor quality, I could see a manic gleam in my father's eyes. This man wasn't the same one who raised me. He couldn't be. Dad worked in medicine, but he had never uttered a peep about any of this. And that expression. I barely recognized him. Dad stepped off screen for a moment and my heart dropped. Behind him, strapped to an operating table, was a child me. I was unconscious in my parents' basement, blissfully unaware of what my father was doing. I leaned forward, horrified yet morbidly curious. Dad walked back into frame, wielding a syringe filled with a liquid blacker than night. It was so dark that it seemed to consume the light surrounding it. Here it is, my magnum opus. If my theory is correct, this compound should have the ability to regenerate cells. In short, it should eliminate the possibility of death by natural causes. Cells will no longer wither away. In other words, the body will not age past maturity. I pray that this works. My heart hammered in my chest as Dad plunged the needle into my arm. Almost immediately afterward, my body began to writhe and convulse on the operating table. Dad's face dropped. He clearly hadn't anticipated that. The convulsions stopped as quickly as they began, much to his relief. But then my eyes shot open. They were completely black. A deep, inhuman cackling erupted from my lips. Dad went pale as a ghost. "Thank you," I said in a voice that was not my own. "You have given me a vessel, foolish human." The table shook violently, my arms and legs flailing in their constraints. I continued to cackle in that disturbing bellow as Dad watched helplessly. "I hope you know what you've done. This child will never be rid of me. Never. I may lie dormant for years, waiting until the time is right, but know that you have sealed his fate." Then the recording cut off. I stared at the blank screen, unable to comprehend what I had just witnessed. That was impossible. It had to be a skit. Or a fabrication. I couldn't accept that what I had just seen was real. I had to know the truth. I ejected the first tape from the VHS player and replaced it with the second. I watched for hours. Every tape afterward was a near replica of the one before it. Instead of trying to find the serum for immortality, Dad was attempting to cure me of my affliction. Each video played out the same way. He would explain what the drug was, why it was supposedly going to work, and my body would writhe on the table. The demon, or whatever ungodly creature that was, would return and mock my father, then the video would end. By the time I reached the last tape, my hope was wearing thin. Dad had failed dozens of times. Countless different injections had no effect in reversing the damage. My breath hitched in my throat as I pressed play on the final video. "Jeremy, I'm sorry. I'm all out of ideas. What began as an experiment born out of love quickly soured into a curse that you have to bear. I never should have tried this. The guilt of my actions is eating me alive." He took a moment to wipe away the tears welling in his eyes. "I don't know what else to do. I've been trying to fix my mistake for 12 years. You're going off to college in a few days, and without you living under my roof, I won't be able to conduct these experiments any longer. I'm sorry, son. I failed you." That was it. The video cut to black, and I was left to sit there and think about what I had just seen. It's been 4 months since then. Over the past week, I've been blacking out. Huge chunks of my day have been disappearing from my memory without a trace. I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but I think it's related to Dad's experiments. I don't know what it wants with me, but I'm terrified, because I think that thing from the tapes has finally awakened.